Space is like almost as been terrifying in just Dead Space. I wouldn't say because of the monsters alone. I mean, not because of the gore, but maybe because of just the silence. The heavy kind of silence where every sound suddenly matters. The metal creaking somewhere far down a hallway, a distant alarm barely working anymore, and at times even your own footsteps. See, this series understood fear differently from most horror games. It wasn't about cheap jump scares every 5 seconds. It was about pressure, maybe isolation, and feeling that something terrible had already happened long before you have arrived. And now, after the success of the Dead Space remake, well, the rumors surrounding Dead Space 4 are going louder again. Much louder, in fact. Because for the first time in years, fans genuinely believe EA may finally continue Isaac Clarke's story instead of leaving the franchise frozen in the past. See, according to ongoing reports, insider discussions, a lot of them, and statements surrounding Motive Studios' future ambitions, there is growing belief that a new mainline Dead Space project has at least been discussed internally following the remake's strong reception. And well, the timing feels pretty dangerous in the best way possible. Because horror gaming has changed massively over the past few years. Players want slower tension against strong atmospheres, real immersion, and, well, in fact, very few franchises understand environmental horror as naturally as Dead Space. Even today, the remake proved how powerful the formula still is when treated carefully. Players didn't just praise the graphics, they praised the mood, the sound design, the oppressive feeling of moving through a dying structure while everything around you slowly falls apart. And yeah, that identity still works perfectly today. But Dead Space 4 will create a much more interesting challenge. This isn't just about returning to horror. It's about deciding where the series even goes after everything Isaac has already survived through. That's where the rumors online become pretty fascinating. Some discussions suggest that the project could potentially move away from the large-scale and action-heavy direction of Dead Space 3 and return toward the darker, more isolated horror tone of the original games. Honestly, that's exactly what fans do want. Not giant battlefields, not non-stop shooting, fear. The kind of fear that slowly crawls under your skin while the environment itself starts feeling hostile. Like, imagine a new Dead Space built around modern hardware limitations no longer existing. Massive abandoned stations sitting through deep space, entire colony ships frozen in darkness. The atmosphere alone could become unbearable in just the best way possible. An Unreal Engine 5 or an Evolve Frostbite engine could push the environmental detail to terrifying new levels. Condensations on just metal walls, blood smears across damaged equipment, broken machineries parking in zero gravity while distant screams echo through communication systems barely functioning anymore. That level of immersion matters for Dead Space because the environments are never just backgrounds, they are part of the horror itself. See, the Ishimura became iconic because it felt real. A working industrial ship slowly transformed into a graveyard. Players believe people actually lived there before everything collapsed. That grounded design made the horror believable. A true Dead Space 4 needs that same philosophy. Not just bigger locations, more believable ones. And honestly, the series has enormous room to evolve now, because technology finally allows developers to create truly dynamic horror systems. AI-driven necromorph behavior alone could completely change how encounters, instead of scripted enemy placements, creatures could move unpredictably through ventilation systems, darker corridors, and damaged sectors of the ship dynamically. That uncertainty would create constant tension, because in great horror games, players should never feel fully comfortable. One particularly interesting thing surrounding Dead Space 4 rumors is the growing discussions around psychological horror, becoming much more important once again. The original games already explored Isaac's mental deterioration heavily, but modern storytelling tools could push that idea much further. Hallucinations, distorted audio, false environments, entire sections where players genuinely question what's real. That approach would fit perfectly because Isaac Clarke himself is one of gaming's most damaged protagonists. By the end of the trilogy, he's exhausted emotionally and mentally. He survived events no human being realistically should survive. Continuing that story means exploring what years of trauma actually do to somebody. And honestly, that may become the strongest emotional angle of a new game. Not Isaac becoming stronger, Isaac becoming tired, haunted. A man trying desperately to escape horrors that continue following him through space no matter how far he runs. That direction feels much more fitting for modern horror storytelling than simply making everything bigger again. And visually, well, the possibilities are almost endless now. Like, the scale could become terrifying. Not action movie huge, lonely huge. That's the important difference. Because Dead Space works best when players feel small compared to the environment around them. Tiny human beings trapped inside impossible situations with almost no control over the entire thing. That helplessness creates fear naturally. And sound design will, of course, probably matter more than anything else if Dead Space 4 truly happens. See, the remake already proved this beautifully. Mechanical noises, air systems barely functioning, distinct creature sounds somewhere behind some wall. A sequel could evolve that dramatically. Directional audio systems, per se, dynamic breathing patterns from Isaac dependent on stress levels, hallucinations affecting sound itself, radio chatter fading in and out unpredictably while players move through damaged environments. That's right, that sensory pressure is what separates Dead Space from other horror games. But if Isaac does return, the story should acknowledge the weight he carries now. He should not feel like an unstoppable action hero anymore. He should feel experienced, damaged, cautious. Someone who understands exactly how terrifying necromorph outbreaks become, because he has watched entire civilizations collapse from them already. That perspective alone could make the story emotionally stronger than previous games. And then there's also the larger mythology. The markers, the Brethren wounds. Humanity itself slowly falling deeper into extension-level horror. That's right, the cosmic horror aspect still has enormous potential. Especially now, modern audiences respond strongly to existential horror again. And honestly, that's probably why these rumors continue surviving years after year. Because the franchise still feels unfinished. Not mechanically, emotionally. There's still something terrifying sitting inside the Dead Space universe, waiting to be explored properly with modern technology and modern storytelling tools. That's why fans keep talking about it, why every hiring rumor, insider comment, or cryptic developer statement immediately creates headlines. Because people can already imagine how terrifying a true next-generation Dead Space 4 could become. A slow descent back into deep space, abandoned structures drifting silently through endless darkness. Isaac Clarke hearing things again, necromorphs moving somewhere nearby while the lights fail one by one, and the horrible realization that humanity may never have escaped the nightmare at all, because in Dead Space, the horror never really ends. It only waits quietly in the dark until someone opens the wrong door all over again.